Hello everyone, it's Katie, and this is my third courseware share video. In this video, I'm going to introduce an application called Open English or 开言英语. I know the English phrase sounds a little bit weird, but I think by open, they actually mean to open your mouth to speak and talk. So as you can imagine, this application focuses more on the communicative skill. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to provide a little bit background information. Here is the advertising page. There's not a lot on this website, but as you can see, it's the interface is it's very interactive, and here's the team led by this girl Jenny here. And the rest of the team members are all white, native speakers, and I think that's actually one of the selling point of the team. Okay, so down here, this is something that's really interesting. This phrase here literally means fragmented learning. And it says step by step, you will fall in love with English. So fragmented learning is usually considered as problematic with a lot of the self-directed learning tools. But here you can, they're actually making it a selling point, which I will discuss in a minute. Okay, so I believe this team actually started with doing podcasts. And here I'm just gonna play a little bit of the podcast.
Where should we start?
我想先问你啊，就是我们说到女生名字，我们是讲什么 women's names, female names, girls' names?
I would say women's names or girls' names. Female, like that sounds like a female cat. Like, what would you name your female cat?
就是性别是
It's too
勾选的时候是男还是女是吧？
It's too scientific.
Okay.
Okay, so in this recent podcast, they're talking about some of the popular girls' names, and as you can hear, the girl speaks Chinese. Well, not always, but the girl speaks Chinese most of the time, and the guy speaks English. So it's actually a bilingual podcast, and they code switch all the time and very naturally. So I think this kind of podcast actually helps, especially actually helps the beginning learners to listen to or understand English, because it really helps them navigate the conversation, so that the learners know where they are. And they won't freak out if they don't understand the English part. So yeah, I don't know much about listening, or I don't know many studies on listening, but I would really like to know how the bilingual conversation, whether the bilingual conversations are more effective or not. Okay, so back to the main point. What I want to introduce is actually the application, which is available in Apple Store. The application is also called Open English. Okay, before I get into the evaluation part, I want to introduce 3 features. The first feature is the placement test. So after you installed the application, the first thing you're going to see is a short placement test. But before that, you are actually going to self-select your occupation or education level. So by education level, I mean they ask you whether you're a high school student or college student. And for this one, I just select I selected to be a freelancer. And then you're going to complete a short placement test. There are different exercises. For example, recognizing this word, listening to a conversation and select the right picture or right context. And I just randomly select some of the answers, and I arrived at a 2 level. So after the placement test, they will give you a detailed report of your different skills, and followed by the recommendations for your learning activities. Okay, so the second feature is the course structure. So the course is structured as an upward journey. As you can see, this line never ends. You can just go all the way up as you swipe down this page. Yeah, so the each stop here, you see the white circle, this I consider them as stop. So each stop is a unit of learning. For example, this one here, it's unit 4-1, and it's 16 minutes long. And I think the visualization gives you a sense of accomplishment. So it makes you feel you're climbing a ladder and you're making progress. And lastly, the units are all theme-based, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. Okay, so say that you want to so say that you're ready to do some exercises, and you click into one of the units, and each unit is theme-based, and those themes are recommended to you according to your self-selected occupation. For example, I select to be a freelancer, so this unit that recommended to me is about job hunting. Okay, and there are different parts in the unit. The first is to watch a short video, and then you will learn some grammatical points. For example, how to ask questions, and then you'll learn how to construct a sentence. And I believe the last part is vocab. All right. So well, first of all, you'll see a video played by two, again, native speakers. And in this short video, they are talking about how to find a job, how to do interviews, how to introduce yourself in the interviews. And each unit is fairly short, takes less than 20 minutes to complete. And those tasks can be easily completed on the mobile device. There's no assignment that asks you to compose a really long, lengthy paragraph. Okay, so that's the basic information about each unit and the exercises that goes into that unit. Okay, evaluation. What I really like about this application is that it recommends learning materials that might satisfy your needs. For example, as a freelancer who's interested to learn English, your goal is probably to find a job, right? And to deal with English interviews. So you probably need different skills than the high school students who's preparing for college entrance examination. So I think they took that into consideration, and I think that's good. And the second point is that most of the features are free to use. I used it for well, I didn't use it, but so far I didn't see any features that require you to pay for. And then the interface is nicely designed, as you can see from the screenshot and from their advertising page. And I'm not so sure about the length of the the lessons. On the one hand, I believe that the short lessons might help beginners to focus or give them a sense of accomplishment so that they can keep going. But on the other hand, I'm not sure if the short lessons actually limit the learning opportunities. For example, are you able to write long arguments if the lesson is like 15 minutes? Right? Are you able to consider more complicated issues? And the other thing that I don't like about this application is that it promotes the nativism in learning English. But I mean, this is not their problem. A lot of the tools or commercial learning tools are promoting that. But I think I doubt whether we should really like speak in the American way or like react in a very American way. Whether that's really or use like very American vocabulary while talking to other people. And lastly, it promotes comprehension skills rather than production skills. So although at the beginning I said the application focuses more on helping you to make conversations, but as you can see, I think the focus here is to understand the conversations and be more like American. Because you don't have a lot of opportunities to talk to real people. Okay, so pedagogy. Well, the learner's field, I think this application is actually designed for adults who have a busy schedule. So mostly working adults who want to improve their English but who don't really have a lot of time to take structured courses. So the 15-minute lessons can be accomplished while they're taking where they're on the bus or while they're taking a lunch break. And the exercises are drill based mostly, which means they are there's not a lot of like real life interaction, and although they try to really reconstruct the real conversations, but for learners, they don't have the opportunities to interact with real people. They're still doing like multiple choices, blank filling, like true or false, this kind of things. So I think the lack of real interaction might demotivate learners. And I don't think that has anything to do with the level of proficiency. Even at the lower proficiency, I think it helps if the learner can read something that's actually read by users of this language. And next, teacher's feet. So, well, if you're a teacher, you cannot change anything on this application because everything is predetermined. However, you can, I think, an innovative way of using this application is to have students do the exercises before class, so that way you can really flip the classroom, right? For example, if you're going to teach how to ask questions, you can assign a unit before the actual lessons begin. And then students can be asked to readapt the conversation to local context. For example, the conversation that I introduced before are in the are situated in a job hunting context, and the two people are talking with the assumption that it's in the like North American context. So I think students can be asked to talk about job hunting and to introduce themselves, but I think they can be encouraged to adapt that conversation in the local context. And in that way, they can consider whether to change part of the vocab or part of the syntax or the way they communicate. So I think that's actually a really fun point. Okay, thank you for listening, and I welcome any comments, suggestions, anything. Thank you. Bye bye.